Hi again, I'm Kevin Shively, and this is Play It Back, where I'm taking a look at game tape from your favorite creative campaigns of all time. Marketing used to be so fun. Used to be. Look, the good news is that some of the best are still having fun and still showing that it works. In fact, some are doing it crazy well. Last week I talked about campaigns from Salesforce, Lavender AI, Nikon, and WWF, who are all doing some really fun, creative stuff. I mean, if Muppets on your B2B streaming service isn't fun, I don't know what is. But overall, marketing has gotten so watered down, all for the sake of following a playbook. We used to think of the most outlandish shit that we could think of to hype a product and get people to buy it. Today, we box it into our standardized funnel stages and the same wash tactics that the other guys already used. Maybe Mad Men was right. I mean, not the misogyny or racism or liver damage, but at least the unbridled creative energy. For too many marketers, that's no longer the case. I'm looking at you, B2B. Now, instead of the most creative, off-the-wall, take-their-breath-away moments, it's all this playbook and that demand framework and this claim that we're the industry leader and that we've added AI to our platform. Some of the most interesting conversations marketers have now are, do I gate this PDF or do we dare ungate it? By the way, if this hits close to home, just know we've all gotten caught up in it, at least at one point or another. It's inevitable. We gotta move product. That's our job. Your CEO, the board, shareholders, they all demand results. And in their mind, that means sticking to that playbook. It means spreadsheets explaining pipeline, not brand building, not customer love, not creative. The problem is that you, your team, your buyers, and your customers, you're all just people. And people, no matter how we dehumanize our process by labeling them leads or prospects or visits, people crave fun. We crave a story. We crave creativity. It's part of what it means to be human. As a marketer, and more acutely as a marketing leader, it's incumbent on us to demonstrate the efficacy of that philosophy to our CEOs, to our board, to our shareholders. Good creative drives results. Sometimes I come across a campaign that knocks me off my feet because it's so fun and it drove results. It's silly and it's savvy. It makes you think, that's fucking ridiculous. And damn it, I wish I thought of that all at once. Something so over the top creative that it's disrespectful how fun it is. And something so damn good that it didn't even have to advertise the brand. Today we're talking about MailChimp. I mean Kale Limp. I mean Jail Blimp. I mean Mail Shrimp. If you haven't heard of MailChimp, let's get the scoreboard up. MailChimp, the small business email marketing software, was founded in 2001. It's one of the most successful bootstrap stories of all time. They took out zero in institutional funding. And in 2021, they were acquired by Intuit for $12 billion, the largest exit for a bootstrapped company ever. In 2023, they're doing around $800 million in annual revenue. They have over 12 million active customers. So you could say they're really good at what they do. In 2017, MailChimp partnered with the legendary agency Droga5 for the campaign that we're covering today. But in order to understand this campaign, we got to jump back to 2014 and the podcast that changed podcasts forever. Serial. Look, I'm not going to get into what Serial was. If you don't know, you should stop watching this and go listen to that. It's so much better, you guys. What you need to know is that it was wildly popular. MailChimp sponsored Serial, and their pre-roll ad went viral by including someone mispronouncing MailChimp.
Support for Serial comes from MailChimp.
From MailChimp.
Chimp.
People loved it. There were jokes all over Twitter about MailChimp. And while MailChimp continued to grow, breaking $500 million in ARR by 2017, something else happened. The email marketing space had become more saturated, as had the broader MarTech space. There were a lot of email marketing solutions out there, and while they were still growing, MailChimp's market share was plateauing. So they needed to expand their base. They needed to reach people who didn't already know who they were and what their product did. MailChimp had a massive freemium motion. They were also the first mover in the space, and they had built a great business around capturing that demand. What they needed to do was create more demand. And to do that, you need a hook. You need something that will stop people in their tracks. You need great creative. I don't just mean Don Draper wandering into a meeting with a blank poster board after a week-long bender selling you on a tagline. I mean great creative. MailChimp and Droga5 definitely thought big. They launched 9 separate projects all at once. And here's the fun part. They didn't mention MailChimp in a single one. People were left to figure that out on their own. Playing on the mispronunciation theme, they launched 3 short art films: MailShrimp, Jail Blimp, and Kale Limp. These colorful, acid-trippy, artsy shorts weren't just played on a YouTube pre-roll. They were played before feature films in movie theaters across the country.
And one day I know I'll become MailChimp, 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 Mail. Show me that you love me. MailChimp.
They also produced music. Blood Orange's Dev Hynes and Brandon Cook teamed up for Veil Him. They actually dropped a track that's such a banger, I didn't even know it was a joke till I started researching this campaign. I love that song. They racked up over 1 million streams super quick and got rave reviews from Rolling Stone, Pitchfork, and other very real music publications.
It's in your mind, and who knows if that's the thing that's right.
They created Whale Synth, a real usable whale sound synthesizer that lets you play whale sounds on your phone. Real thing. And they made an actual food. Fail chips were the seasoned crumbly part at the bottom of your chip bag, you know, the leftovers, only that was the whole bag of fail chips. Bodegas and delivery drivers shared over 200,000 bags. There were pop-up tastings in Brooklyn, and according to Droga5, it even inspired a real knockoff brand in Indonesia. Snail Primp had LA snails getting facials. MailChimp became an online competition for the coolest nail art, and MailCrimp became a fashion trend, even making its way into French Vogue and The New Yorker. Guys, none of this was branded. It was hard to find the MailChimp connection on some of these campaigns. And then the conversations rippled throughout social, across major publications, and out in the real world. It took on a life of its own. And here's where the brilliance came in. Because I love a fun campaign, but it's only cool if it works. Okay, you know how when you're watching a movie or a TV show, and you see an actor that you recognize, but you just can't remember why? So you just sit there and live with that lack of knowledge and don't do anything about it? No, of course not. This isn't 1997. You Google it. And in 2017, when people saw MailShrimp or Snail Primp, they did the same thing. And that's where the brand showed up. A paid campaign against each of the 9 terms and several variants populated an ad that said, "Did you mean MailChimp?" So let's take it back to the scoreboard. Did it work? Great creative. Did it make an impact? So let's get the advertising hardware out of the way first, because it's cool, but it doesn't really matter to the business. Yes, it won a Cannes Lion Grand Prix, a silver and 2 bronze, and a bunch of other industry awards. But more importantly, the campaign generated over 1 billion earned media impressions, double what Droga5 had committed to. And it drove 67 million organic searches for the terms used in the campaign. Now this is brilliant because one of the benefits of using unique off-brand terminology, they were able to directly attribute search volume to a specific campaign, tactic, or creative asset. Just brilliant. Now the campaign was immediately followed by a more conversion-focused, product-centric phase that talked about the value of MailChimp. Still creative. There were black holes, neon brains, and really artistic ads, but the demand had been creative. Now what they needed to do was capture. Look, we don't all have the full might of Droga5 behind us. Sometimes you got to be a little scrappier, but that doesn't mean you can't have fun with it. Next time you're pulling a brand campaign together, tear up that playbook and stare at a blank sheet for a while. Talk to your customers and think about what would get their juices flowing, not just what would get them to buy your product. In fact, actually save that part for V2. Once you have a creative idea that people would like, then ask how you make it work for your brand. But you gotta start with something that's gonna attract them. We live in an era when we want everything to be instant. Hey ChatGPT, create my next campaign. But real creativity is iterative. It takes time, it takes energy. You gotta marinate in it for a minute if you want that emotional resonance. And if you wanna grow like MailChimp did, in an era when CFOs are slashing budgets and the economy is tightening everyone's belt, trust me, you want emotional resonance now more than ever. We'll see you next time.